Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So our first question is like make the array strictly increasing. So we are given two integer array, array one and array two, and we have to return the minimum number of operations which is needed to make array one strictly increasing. And in one operation, you can choose either I or j, which would be less than array one length, array two length, and we have to put the value of jth value of the array two into array one. If there is no way to make this strictly increasing, you return minus one in that case. Yeah, we took this two and right in the first one because only five is distorting the array.
Well, okay, I didn't hear your first statement. I think you.
Oh, am I
Okay.
audible now?
Now you're audible. Yeah. Huh?
So I'm saying that this five is disturbing the array.
Okay. Five now. Again, you're gone. Your voice is gone. Yeah. Now it's okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Again, you.
Am I?
Now, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Did we lose you?
Today it's disturbed. Yeah.
Okay. No problem. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm saying just to if you take this two and put it here, it will make it a strictly increasing array one.
Correct. Uh-huh.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, but you are talking about five, right? So if you take five and then you look for the five in array two, correct?
Five in array one.
Okay, you take five in array one because
And
that is the one which is odd, correct?
yeah. Mhm.
But then what do you do in array two? You just pick any number. Why only two
Strictly
and why
increasing.
not one?
I have to make it strictly increasing, right?
Okay. Ha, ha, ha.
So one I can't take. If I take one, it will be non-decreasing. So and three I can't take non-decreasing. So I'll have to take two only to make it uh, what do you say, perfect increasing, like strictly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh.
In the second, you can replace five with. I replace first with three and three with four. Two operations I'll have to do. Five with if I make it three, then it will be non-decreasing, and again three with four, then it will be strictly increasing.
Okay. So three, five you will replace with three and four. Three will replace with four, like that.
Yeah. Two operations.
Okay. Okay.
Or I could have used one also. I could have replaced five with one and then one with four.
But that is not possible, right?
Oh, that's not possible. Yeah, it's not in a sequence. Increasing. Yeah.
Okay. Just a minute. I'll just fix my mic. Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Uh,
So how do we do the? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure, like, even operation you can choose. Okay, yeah. So I was saying that even I can replace five with one and then one with four.
But that is strictly increasing in the sense it doesn't have to be equal to.
Like, yeah, that's why first operation will make it non-decreasing. Some constant is thing. But when again I'll okay, no, it's not possible. Got it, yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh. So then, okay. So this is one way, but then how do we think of doing this? Uh, I got this.
I
So
think
brute force would be like every time each and every element you go and look for that in the array too. Anything which is lesser than, yeah. But in brute force, in that case, you could start from array one from the back side, correct? So that would be slightly better. The reason why I'm saying is because you can always have array two also something like a sorted, and then we start from always the back side, and then we always keep on looking for the elements from the backside in array 2 also. If array 1 is strictly decreasing in this case, okay, we see that if it's increasing, so we actually go and pick up any element which is in the array 2 from the back, and then we maintain a pointer there, because we don't want to visit the that array 2 element again, so we can keep on decreasing it, something like that. I'm thinking loud. That also should be fine, right?
Once you have used that, you
Right.
you can keep track of it. Yeah.
So, okay, I'll just note it here, maybe because this problem was slightly difficult for me to really understand. And okay, why it's so small now? Okay, 1, 5, right? And then we have 3, 6, and 7, right? So what
Yeah.
I will do is I will have this array 2, which is 1, 3, 4, okay, as a sorted one, and then I will have a pointer from here and another pointer from here. So in this case, first I'll compare with the previous one. Okay, if this guy is smaller, then I just move ahead. Okay, I don't move this pointer at all. Okay, so this may be I2 and this is I1, right? So I just move I1 because it is decreasing. But then when I come here, okay, this is also decreasing, correct, in this case. But then when I come here, okay, so before here, after that I come here because this again is strictly decreasing. Then when I come to 5, I cannot replace with 4, I cannot replace with 3, I cannot replace with 1 either. Okay. So then that also won't work, right?
In that case, yeah.
Hmm.
So we can start from the left end and then start comparing if the right end doesn't work.
Oh, in that case, we do it the other way, you mean to say?
Yeah. So we can keep track of the previous element
Mm-hmm.
and compare if it is not strictly increasing, that it means that we have to change the value. If it is strictly increasing, even then there can be a possibility like in further indexes, it may violate the strictly increasing condition. Like here, 1 and 5,
Mm-hmm.
1 is smaller than 5, but again, 5 and 3 is not strictly increasing, I guess. So if
Mm-hmm.
we change 3 to, I guess,
5 to 3, it will be constant. So you'll have to
yeah,
change next 3 to 4 to
yeah,
make
yeah,
it.
yes. Yeah, so even if it is strictly increasing, we can try changing it to the minimum value which is greater than the previous one, and then keep updating the previous and keep checking of all the possibilities and take the minimum number of take the possibility which has the minimum number of operations, and this may happen that the array won't be strictly increasing, then the answer we can return -1.
Okay, okay, good. But okay, first we started with backside, nothing work. Okay, you're saying you start from
Left hand.
okay. So how do I go? So I start from 1, 1, fine. I don't compare. I don't move this I2 in this case, right? My I2 is here. So
Yeah.
then I come to 5. So what are you suggesting?
Yeah, so since the previous element of 5 is, I guess, less than 5,
Uh-huh.
so here we have two possibilities. That is, we can change 5 or we can skip changing 5. Since 1 and 5 is already strictly increasing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we can skip the changing this 5 index part,
Mm-hmm.
index at which 5 is there. But
Mm-hmm.
again, we can have a possibility like 5 can be changed to the minimum value which is greater than the previous one in the next array. So,
Okay.
so 2 will be the minimum value which is greater than the previous one. Uh,
Limit is
since
3. Okay.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So since one for 5 the previous value is 1,
Mm-hmm.
and the minimum value which is greater than 1 in the second array is 2. So we can try changing 5 with 2. That can be one of the possible cases, and uh, Yeah, and then we can just do this process again and again. Uh, take the minimum
Okay, so
operation.
you mean to say we go from left to right now, and then if still it's not, then we come back again from right to left, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm. So brute force way, right? Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, we missed him again. Okay. So, but then in this case, if you don't have a brute force, okay. So if you want to optimize it, so how would be a better way to do? Because will that also not be a optimized way, because we are just having to maybe 3 to 4 passes? Will that not be a norm
Yes.
optimized
So
version?
for the brute force one, we can try changing each of the values in the first array with the values in second array, but we will change only if the array is not strictly increasing, and at last we can check how many operations we perform in the final array, and then there will be many such combinations, and then we have to take the combination which has minimum number of operations. That can be a
Oh.
possible brute force solution.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. But in this case, can we not use something like a DP, the knapsack way?
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
since it is an optimization problem, we obviously have to use DPA. So, but
Mhm.
there is an issue since we are keeping track of the previous element,
Mhm.
and each of the element in the in both of the arrays can be up to 10 to the power 9. So this is why we cannot declare an array of size 10 to the power 9.
Uh-huh.
So he- this is why I guess we will use a unordered map here to
Uh-huh.
or yeah, or we can use a map with pair of integers to keep track of the current and previous element. So
Okay. Uh-huh.
so the DP state so the DP will be two-dimensional DP, and the first state will be the current one and the second will be previous one. So the fine so DP of current uh, and priv will give us the minimum number of operations to be performed if at we are at current index in the first array, and the previous value is the previous one.
Well, can you share your screen, and you can
Yeah,
explain it there?
yeah,
That will be much better.
yeah.
Hey, Shashank, you're back?
Yeah, I'm back. No
Oh,
problem.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
So since we need to find the minimum value uh,
Mm-hmm.
for the since we need to find the minimum value which is greater than the previous one in the second array,
Mm-hmm.
so this can be done if the second array is already sorted. So we
Mm-hmm.
can do a binary search and find the minimum value which is greater than the previous element. So this is why I have sorted the second array first. So I've changed the names to A and B.
Mm-hmm.
So I've changed the value here. I've sorted the second array, and then I have made a 2D vector here of
Mm-hmm.
unordered map. So this will
Okay.
act as a DP one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've called this function solve,
Uh-huh.
where I pass the first argument is the current index at
Uh-huh.
which we are in the first array.
Okay.
Then for the base case, when we are at current index, since we don't have any previous value for this, I have passed a int min here. So it will always be greater than int min.
Uh-huh.
And then the two arrays and the DP vector.
Mm-hmm.
Now the base case, when we are at the extreme end of the first array, then
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to perform any operations. So I have returned 0.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is where we check if we have already pre-calculated it. If we have, then uh, we will return it.
Okay.
So the DP of current of prev will be minimum number of operations if we are at current index
In
with
the A area. Okay.
yeah with previous value as prev. So this previous value as pref can be either the value in this first array, or either we have switched it from the second array. So it doesn't. So since we need to explore all the possibilities, this pref can take either the value from the first array, and it can either take the value from second array also.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the DP state.
Okay,
Now
that's
I
like
have,
a memoize. Okay. Uh-huh.
yeah. So I have declared two variables x and y
Mm-hmm.
here, which I have assigned to int max. So these are for cases when the final answer will be -1. So there won't be any possible case where we can make the array strictly increasing. So for this, I've assigned it int max.
Okay.
Now, if the current the value at current index in the first array is greater than previous one, then I know, for example, if I am at 1, if I am at 5, then the previous value is 1 here. So I know I don't have to change this since it is already strictly increasing. This is why I just increment the current +1. So I move to the next index, and I've updated the previous value to 5 here. This makes
Uh,
sense?
Previous value to
The current,
y.
yeah,
E current. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Uh-huh.
yeah. Otherwise, uh, I can, if let us suppose we explored this case. Now there might be a case where I can change the value of 5 here to get optimized value in future, or
Right.
in the other values of the array. So this is why I've used the upper bound here. So
Mm-hmm.
and pass the previous value. So what upper bound will do is, upper bound will return minimum value in vector b, which is greater than the previous value. So
Mm-hmm.
if I am at 5 here, so the
Mm-hmm.
previous value is 1, and when I will call the upper bound, then it will return me the minimum value which is greater than the previous. So in this vector, minimum value which is greater than 1 is 2. So it will
Mm-hmm.
return me 2 here. So now
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I check if I did not find any value. If I get any value in the, uh, let us suppose this example.
Uh-huh.
For 5, for 3 and 5, the previous value is 5, and I need to find the minimum value which is greater than 5 in vector b, but
Mm-hmm.
there isn't any value. So in this case, the upper bound will return me
Size of
the
the
size of the vector. So this is why
okay.
this is the one of the uh, extreme cases. So if I
Okay.
find the value, like if I am at 1 and 5, then I
Mm-hmm.
will find the value 2. So I will replace the current value to 2 here. So this is why I just increment the index value, but when I am assigning the previous value, I update it to value 2 here. So the previous will get updated to
Ah, okay.
the value in
Mm-hmm.
the second array. So we
Mm-hmm.
have we have explored both the cases where we are not updating the current value, and we are updating the current value to the minimum. Since we are updating it to minimum value, this will be the optimal way. Otherwise, if we choose any value which is smaller,
Mm-hmm.
like if we are at 1 and we choose 1, then it won't make any sense, since we need the vector, the final vector, to be strictly increasing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if the previous value is 1 and I am choosing 7, then it is not an optimal way to choose it, since I might have to choose 7 again in the uh, the other end of the array, and since the final vector has to be strictly increasing, this won't have any duplicates. So this is why I have to choose the minimum value which is greater than prev in the second array. So this is why this upper bound I've used here. So this is one of the optimal ways to choose the minimum value to be replaced in the current array. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Therefore, now this knapsack way works, but
Yeah.
it's not a straightforward way. And also,
Yeah.
you're not replacing any values in the array one. That is also good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there is an issue, since we have made this int max, and if we directly take x and y plus 1, this might happen that the value of y does not get updated here, and the value of y remains int max. Now, if I add int max plus 1, then it will overflow here, and then answer will get a negative value. So this is why if the value of int max is, if the value of y is int max, I have assigned the value of x to the answer. And then later, if the value of y is not int max, then we can choose the minimum of both of the possibilities. And then later I assigned it to the DP vector of unordered pairs.
Okay, but where do you assign the first value? Only when you actually go to the end, then you return 0,
Yeah,
right? Either to x
yeah,
and y. So if
yeah,
you get 0 and y, and if you come to the else condition on line 20, and then
yeah,
when you come to 21, then only you are going to increment y plus 1, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay. Hmm.
if I don't add this condition here,
Hmm.
then I will take minimum of x and y plus 1. If y is int max, that
Hmm.
is, we did not find any possible value to replace in the first vector.
Hmm.
So in that case, it will be int max plus 1, and then int max plus 1 will be a negative value, and since we are choosing a minimum, so answer will get a minimum value, which I don't want here.
Right, right. Oh, that is
And
good actually. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, and later, if the final answer is int max,
Mhm.
so the extreme possibility is the answer can be at max int max. So since I've assigned the value of x to be int max here,
Mhm.
so here the answer can be int max. So this is why if the final answer is int max, I return -1. This is when I don't have any possible combination to swap in both the arrays and get a strictly increasing array. Otherwise, I return the answer.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep. I- it's not a very
it's
easy
not that
question, right?
straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When we
Yeah,
think
yeah.
of an abstract
you
way,
can't declare a DP vector here since the previous value has the range 10 to the power 9.
how you
So
can take a vector of that, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is one of the issues in this problem. So directly the DP approach will not come.
Hmm.
So so when I
Similar
was
question.
approached, yeah, so when I
Okay, go
was
on. Yeah.
approaching this question, I thought about sorting it and then finding the minimum value.
Hmm.
But the knapsack approach uh,
Hmm.
for both of the cases is more optimal here.
Right.
Since in future we can just minimize the number of operations if we replace the value at the current index.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
They say longest increasing subsequence extension of this. I mean, no, extension of that problem is this.
Yeah,
But I
that
don't
they
know.
say, but I really didn't understand it. Uh, how? Okay. Yeah, you can use something like a lower bound to find, right,
Okay.
any value
Yeah.
if you are using a iterative way, correct? And then
Yeah.
you already have an array to sorted, you're just iterating in that array one, correct? But then whenever you find a value, you're saying that in this example one, I go to 5 and then try to find a lower bound in array 2 because it is actually sorted, and then how do I actually, I didn't really get that, because we use, if we forget about the okay, if you use a lower bound, that's going to be a binary search, right, in that.
That is,
Mm.
yeah.
But then how do
But
we actually make this? Hmm. Okay. Yeah, you have something to say, Abhishek?
Uh, so for analysis of the complexity of the program, obviously we cannot say about the space complexity here, but I think it might be, since we have already declared it 201. So if we take uh, if we take the length of the first array to be n, then uh, okay, so if we take the worst case complexity, if both the arrays have length n, then
Mm-hmm.
just for iterating to all the cases, this will be a factor of n. Then for okay, I think it will be n square log n. So
N square
for
log n, or how come n square log n in that case?
yeah,
Square
Oh,
I am
yeah,
not
yeah, n
sure. So
square, right?
this
Okay, both of them.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So this part is for log n term,
Hmm.
and the previous one will always get the value from n values from the second array or even the first array. So at max it can have n values,
Hmm.
or even 2n or 4n. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
since we are taking the average one. So I think it will be n square log n here.
Yeah, looks good to me. But in this,
Yeah.
in terms of space complexity, is it not going to be a constant?
So
No, that
if
does.
we yeah, so if we don't have the constraint, like if we want to give the space complexity in the terms of the uh, size of both the arrays,
Mm-hmm.
then I guess uh, that will be make that will make more sense, I guess. So I think it will be of the order n for each of the index in first array, and then again the previous value can take at max n or 2n value. So I think it will be of n into n.
Really?
But
Mm-hmm.
should be constant. Okay. Okay. If constraints is not given here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
this n is the size of the first vector or array.
Mhm.
So in
Yes.
terms of that, otherwise saying this as constant, I don't think this will make sense here. Yeah, yeah, even
Uh, yeah, but usually when we take that, we can get away with that, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
because
So
if you have
here,
a big input, right, so then it makes
yeah.
sense to have only
So I think
2000.
here I can make it as a dot size plus one. Then this will make more sense.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Generic is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, since we have the current value can go from 0 to n plus 1 at max
Yeah, and we
or
just
n.
have to store values there only for that array.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, yeah.
That might be good. Yeah.
And the previous value can take the value from the first vector
Uh-huh.
and then the value from second vector. So at max it can have two n values.
Yeah.
So I think this is why space will be n square, I guess.
Mm.
But again, this n uh, won't be 0 to n minus 1. This is actually I guess so. Since we are using unordered map here, it will store as n elements, but the value of n elements will range from 0 to 10 to the power 9.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty complex here for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
Yeah.
pretty. It's totally complex, ultra
Yeah.
complex. You can say.
Yeah, but actually, I would just get away with saying, okay, it's maybe first I'll just say, okay, it's a constant when all these complexities we can surely express, right?
yeah,
And that's big because it's very subjective again. Mm,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
makes sense. Cool.
All right.
I think, yeah, please post the solution if possible in
Yeah,
our
yeah,
Discord. Huh?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Shashank.
I,
Yeah, who they? Yeah, go ahead.
I I understood the login part, but I couldn't understand the time complexity. How it was n? How the time complexity is coming out to be n square login? I mean, I couldn't understand the n square part.
Abhishek.
For every element you are doing upper bound, right? I mean, for every
No,
element
he's
Yeah.
for
saying
first.
login is fine. He's saying y in square
Why?
because we are.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, because of
So
that only n square is coming, right?
no, so for each of the index in first array, we are iterating. So the first n term, then the second n term, we will get from the total number of values which we can get for the previous one. So at max, we can get two n values. That is all the values from first array and all the values from second array. And the log n term for the upper bound on vector b, I guess. So this is why n square log n. But even I am not too sure about it.
Yeah. No, but since it is a
Like
degree at
any
least 10 square, it will.
what do you think, Uday?
1 minute.
Because it's a knapsack sort of memoized version, right? So if it's a knapsack, usually it comes to n square, right? So that is the way I actually
But
logically
they are
thought maybe.
telling,
Sorry?
but one C++ solution, they are mentioning it as O of m into n.
Because
I
you are having the
understood.
other.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
You were, yeah, it's like a knapsack itself. Either we have two choices, but still, I didn't get the n square. I couldn't, not able to understand the n square part. I mean, at every point, we may be getting two values only, right?
Mm-hmm. So n square, I think, is taking the maximum of both of these arrays. Size might be n, the whichever is the maximum. So usually array 1 is to be maximum. I think that is what we are assuming anyway. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Uday.
No, I'm just saying you can continue. We can see it
Yeah.
later.
Sure, if you get something, please post in the Discord, or you can speak up during the session also. We can go back. Yeah. So what was your thing?
Yeah, same, but code on
Okay.
small because of Python. That's so. What I'm doing, I'm taking all it and what moving the duplicates, like putting it in a set and sorting it, and then putting it back to the array. So array will be in a proper set manner, no duplicate in it. This part are argument func tools that we have in Python, and this is all the
You are
files
breaking.
for every
Mm-hmm.
breaking. We are taking bound of the previous element what we have here. Like see, this in I'm passing initial index, I mean the 0 and the we have taken as in, right. This will this clear this time.
Shashank, you are heavily breaking. Voice is breaking a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah, but I think your app, your solution almost looks like Abhishek's one. There
Same
are
as
some.
Abhishek, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but when you do that on line
Tweaks
8,
are
you find up a wrong. Yeah, because for swap you are actually in else part you are assigning the infinity value, so that way you are doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Case
So
if
yeah.
you all it's almost same as Abhishek only, like
Yeah.
not much of.
Yeah, but for me it was very difficult to get this also. But okay, I'll have to revisit this. Yeah, the LIS way, what they say is something also good to go through, right? But yeah, no, I didn't go through that also. Yeah. Okay. So any other questions anyone has on this problem? Do you want someone wants to actually go through their solution approach? Anything? Uday, do you have something to discuss on this problem? Okay. Okay, Shashank, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, are you stable now?
Yeah, yeah.
You have bad time today. Okay. So I think let's go to the next one, because I had that DP version, but it's not so easy um, to explain also. So
Yeah, we'll take it next day, I think.
yeah, maybe. But this one, what Abhishek explained, looks much easier. So the way you are also showing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next is validating the BST.
Mhm.
So like the root is given and you have to determine if it is a valid or not. So left will, I mean, this is a definition of BST. Left keys will be less than the root and right keys will be greater, and both left and right subtrays must also be BST. So like this is your BST, right?
Right. Yeah.
But this is not a BST because your, I mean, 3 should be on the left of 5, but it is coming on the left of 4.
Also
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just want to see if it's a valid binary search tree,
Yeah.
else return false if it
False.
is
Yeah.
not. Yeah. So then
So
this is a
here
very generic problem, right?
problem, because we know that all the values on this side will be from minus infinity to, what do you say, plus 5, and all the values on the right will be from 5 to plus infinity, right? Just check it whether it lies in that range. When we go here, had it been a valid one, let's say 6 is there. So for this, it will be 6 to plus infinity, and this will be 5 to 6 or something. Just will update in every recursion. It's
Right.
trivial. Yeah. So go ahead. Somebody wants to?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so. Anyway, I just said yeah. So, what is the first approach you would think? So you are saying about the plus infinity and minus infinity.
That is the first and everything, right? Or no, you can do the in order traversal and you check if it is a
Yeah,
sorted
so
array.
the first approach can be we just check the current node with the root node.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that will fail in some of the cases. Like there might be a case where since we know that all the values in the left subtree had to be less than the root value and even the right subtree value. So this method of comparing the left subtree, the left value of a root node and the right value of root node will fail in some of the cases. So this is why we have to use a extra two variables which will store the current minimum and current maximum in the tree, and then we can compare with the root value.
What will fail? You said in this case. Uh,
So the base case of the binary search tree is the value at the root node
uh-huh.
lies between value of uh, the left children of the root node
Right.
and the right children of the root node.
Okay.
So we can just compare each of the root values uh,
Uh-huh.
with its left children and right children,
Uh-huh.
and if it satisfies, then we can go for the left subtree and the right subtree and call the function recursively.
Mm-hmm.
But this will fail in some cases. Like we are just checking with the root node and the children.
Okay, but
So
what it should fail, because is it not that the way the
yeah,
BST property is?
yeah. So the main property is like the value in the left subtree is always less than the value of root and the right subtree.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why we need to maintain extra uh, pointers that will keep track of the maximum value which we encountered and the minimum value which we encountered. And then if
Okay. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then if we are at right subtree, then we have the condition. If we are at the left subtree, we
Okay.
have
So
the
with an
condition.
extra space, we can do it, you are trying to say, but without
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
you cannot do it. Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that was a problem. Yeah. Okay. So extra space. Um, so what are you using, Shah?
I'm saying that if I do in order traversal of BST, it should be everything should be in a sorted way, right? If I don't get a sorted array, then we are it's definitely not a balanced one. But what I'm doing here, this one is without extra space. So I'm just assigning root is there, plus infinity and minus infinity for max and mean value.
Mhm.
So if there is no root, then that's a BST. And this is again your root value should, if it is lesser than the mean and root value greater than max, then that's again a false, right? Because those are plus infinity, minus infinity. Now, when you go to the left, so for left, what will happen? The max value will be the root, its parent root, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, if I go this side, so the max value will be the 5 only, parent value, and the mean value will be minus infinity. So in roots left, I'm passing the 5, and max this, the mean value will be minus infinity because it's on the left side. And when you shift to the right, so your max value will be what? Plus infinity. It can go to that extent. I mean, for this node, again, it will, and yeah, and your mean value will be the root. I mean, minimum value 5 2 because this is 5 2 plus infinity. So mean
Right.
value is 5.
Yeah, so you're using in order, right?
Traversal.
In order traversal, yeah. So without extra space, we can do that, is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, call stack will be there. So
Mhm.
that shouldn't consider.
Yeah, okay. And then, so in when you are actually using a in order, so the most important thing will be whenever it is violating our binary search property, so you return false.
At
Correct?
that point, yeah.
Yeah, and that is the main
14 line. Yeah.
important case, correct? Yeah, on line 14 and 15. Or else, and also if it's not true, then you have to return true.
It's an empty tree because empty tree is always a valid BST. I mean, nothing is there, so we don't need to compare anything.
Right. Okay, so you are actually doing that on the, okay, this is the different function, check BST. Okay,
Check
yeah.
BST. Yeah.
So initially you will have to check if it's a root is null or not, or else then you go and then do the left. And but how can this be a in order traversal? You are doing a
Not
pre-order, right?
pre-order, yeah. In order, I thought from
Yeah.
my perspective.
So you're doing a pre-order. So pre-order should be okay still, right? Yeah. Hmm. But okay,
Yeah,
see, in pre-order you still have to use the Maxwell and Minwell, those things.
to track the value at every
Yeah, so
branch.
you still use some extra space or maybe some extra variables to do that. But if you use an in order, straightforward in order, you don't need to use that also.
So, okay, then you will check previous value and current value bigger or not, right? I mean,
Yeah, that will be one variable you'll have to use.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
that will up to.
So
What I
somewhere
think
you'll have to
Abhishek was
use.
mentioning something.
Hmm. Okay. So
Yeah,
that is
Abhishek.
one.
Yeah. You want to share? Go ahead.
No, that is fine. So you said that was on pre-order, or you can use in order also, or then you use the way you initially we started with. Okay, but that is again going to be the same thing. But you can do it iterative way also, right?
Yeah, iterative we
You use
can
a in order, or maybe
stack.
yeah, if you use something like a, yeah, so that also will be possible, right?
So monotonic stack.
No, 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 no. So it will be maybe something like a. So, okay, in order traversal, you can straight away, the way it is, you can actually use your in order iterative way, correct? So that should be fine. Okay, let me quickly show that. I think we have used that lot many places, right? We know the normal way of doing it, is it not?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So that's the very simple way. Okay, let me run through that also. Okay, so this is the way we, in this case, we still maintain this one additional priv. Okay, and then we have a stack, and then this is the current which assigned to the root, and then we go through this while loop always. So always first get all the left nodes, then you pop out from here. When you pop out, you look for your prev if it is greater than your current
Correct.
value. If it is, then it means it's a return false because you can't have that condition, right? And
Yeah.
then you assign your previous to current. So next time you will come, and then this your current, right? So this is the general in order. Yeah. So
Understand. Yeah.
right. So other what they showed in the solution was this one. Okay. So that was something. Okay. So this was something a very different way I thought of. Okay, is a valid binary search tree, but in this case they are using three stacks. One stack for the root and the other for the low limit and high limit, maybe the left and right tree. Okay, but there they were using integers, but I'm using tree node there. So this is a straightforward iterative. We just keep on taking everything. First you push this in the root in the stack, so update node does the pushing over here. That's the only thing about the update node. And then you come here, look for if the stack is not empty, you just pop it out and then look for its left and right um, stacks. You pop that out too, and then you'll compare those values here. And then if it is, if it is not actually meeting the binary search tree behavior, so you return false, or else you update. Go to the left and update the left one with the current and the right one with the current. So it's almost similar the way you started with, right? The high and low, but it is with additional space, and that's more inefficient that way. Right. So the in order iterative way should be much better, or maybe the one with what you are showing.
The pre-order one.
Yeah, the pre-order. Right. Okay. So these things we have been doing for long, so it's fine.
It's become
At least
clear.
that is, yeah, not so difficult. Okay.
Shall we move to next or anyone?
I can share my solution.
Sure.
All right. So basically, we are trying to find out if at all BT
Can you
is.
increase your font, please?
Oh, okay.
Resolution a bit.
Is it fine? Yeah.
Unable. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
So basically, we are trying to find out if at all BT is a BST or not. So the BST has a property that the left subtree should be the smaller than the root. Left right subtree should be bigger than. So this is our two conditions. So let's assume this is just a node and this is just a node. So first condition is this should be greater than this. This should be greater than this. So with that property, we will try to build a recursion out of it. And so this is basically the property. So if you see the code, how we can modify this is BST is BST, and if root is null, it means it's true. If at all we reaches that end, our root itself root is null, then it is true. Then it is a BST. These are the two conditions which tells that okay, left and right has to be following the same property. So we cover this one. And after that, there are two auxiliary functions which does the is left subtree lesser, where we will check the root value with the entire subtree. So this is the root left we sent and root data. So we will be comparing the root left side, root with left side, and we will make sure all the root data are greater than root entire left. So this is another function basically we type. Is left tree lesser? Here also the same condition. If you go left side, we will talk about the right side as well as left side, and then we should be also matching the values, right? Every value not matching, less than value. So it should be lesser than the root value. Similarly, the same, it's a vice versa. So it's like that. I mean, it's a, now we are comparing the right side of it. In the right side, also the same thing. We will compare the right side and the left side, and of course root dot data which we passed, and we are comparing with uh, with the value. Value is nothing but the root parents data. So this way we have in a simplified form this implementation.
Mhm.
It's globally easier.
Okay, so you are using two different functions to do that, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Left subtree.
So this way, actually, it simplifies into the left and right only. Like, just assume that it is left and right are nodes, and do the work, and leave it like left and right. I have to repeat entire thing. So it drill downs to that. That's why I like this, because it's
Yeah,
very simplified.
yeah,
Long
it's a
route, you're
different
not
way.
taking. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying like, aren't you taking long route this, like first checking for the left and then right, where
Uh,
like two recurrence relation could have, like what advantage you do by the, I mean
Yes,
by
this is definitely the longer route. This is definitely the longer route. The one which you said, just compare with the minimum and maximum, because it will not never re like, that is the boundaries of the integer, right? So
yeah.
that is definitely the one liner. I mean, that is definitely the one liner. Um, this is the
Hmm.
one liner. But I mean, I don't think I will come up with something like that in interview until I
I
know.
mean,
Okay. So he's
right,
breaking down into two different sub problems, right? So
exactly.
that also
Yeah,
makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Breaking
that is
down in sub problem is helping a lot. So
right.
I thought this is a very simplified way of
Yeah.
doing it. So
Okay.
we can also see the recursion tree. Like, this is the, I draw the recursion stack. How
Mm-hmm.
will it move from? And actually it's not my implementation. I took it from this YouTube video. So I will
Mm-hmm.
share this entire copies of both the codes
Sure. Can you scroll down a bit where you are actually showing?
here.
No, the main one. Huh? Okay, slightly go down.
Okay.
Yeah, again scroll. Yeah. Okay, here. Okay, you are saying, so you are again using the ESBSD simplified for illustration for right and left. Again, you are coming in this and then. Mhm.
so
Okay,
he's
so
left
unless
sub.
see you do left subtree, right subtree, and again you do it for root left and root right,
Yes.
Over. Mhm.
and that was for because you go in one subtree again you have to go to its left subtree. Will this is this part not redundant here or
Yeah, that I was thinking. The repetitive looks like this BST simplified part. When
okay?
already doing, I'm not sure. Just like
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe not sure. Okay, yeah, we'll
which,
have to
this
look
one,
for this one, right?
this one you say,
No, the below one.
or below one?
Yeah, these two calls. I was just thinking loud, so I thought maybe if you, because you already do that in your is left subtree, because if you are at the highest root, that's the only thing you need to do. Okay, then how are you going to compare when you come back? That is what you're doing for, yeah.
Uh,
But that is already done there in the is left subtree and the right subtree. Yeah.
this looks more
Okay.
complicated sometimes. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, there might be a reason for it because if you just remove that, then it won't work.
exactly.
Hmm. Maybe not getting. We'll have
Okay,
to
so you are
understand.
saying there is no need to check the left and right, because we already checked.
Yeah, I just thinking loud. So, yeah, I thought maybe because we already do that in the previous ones, right? So, yeah,
Maybe some test case might be there where
right. That is what I was trying to understand what it might be. No problem. So
Mhm.
this is a good
yeah,
one.
we
Mhm.
simplified. Okay, but we are doing that in left subtree lesser, right? I mean the first line and third line,
Mhm.
line
Okay.
69 and 71.
Okay. No problem. So yeah, you just post this and let's see if anyone
Yeah,
has any
I will.
questions.
I will also check more conditions about that
Sure.
redundancy because I wasn't able to answer.
Yep. Makes sense.
Okay, I will share. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I
Shashank.
think Ajay hasn't unshared
Yeah.
the
I
screen.
you have to unshare it. Okay. Good.
Yeah, I
So
did. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
last problem ours is
Mhm.
min stack. So what is it? Okay. So you have to implement minimum stack.
Mhm.
Not stack. Okay, that supports push, pop, top, which
Mhm.
will give you the minimum element in constant time. So these are trivial operations. Push element X onto stack.
Mhm.
Pop will remove top of the stack, and top will give you top of the element, and get min will give you the minimum element in the stack.
Right.
So this is like we are pushing -2, then 0, then -3, and then
Mhm.
get minimum will be the -3 because that is on the, I mean, that is the minimum among them. Then again we are popping will again will okay, get me will give -3, pop will give null. Why pop will give null? Okay,
Because it's just
they're not
popping, right? You don't have
yeah,
to do anything there. Yeah.
okay. Then top will give 0
Mhm.
because 3 got popped, -3 got popped, and get mean will again give -2. Yeah, will be called on non-empty stacks. Okay, yeah. So this should be like a list, right? I
Sorry.
mean, I'm saying how to implement, either we can use list to implement this stack or linked list also, right?
Oh yeah, Python you will use at least something like that. But yeah, we can use a stack. So there are different approaches. One will be two stack, or the most naive way will be a two stack solution, right? So
Solution.
you have two different stacks, one for the normal and one for the min stack, and then you keep on pushing every time to the normal stack as well as for the minimum stack. You can always push whatever is the minimum till that current point, right? So then you can optimize on it, or you can use something better.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think that is so there won't be anything but this way, right? Because this is an easy problem.
Yeah, but here also they have used lot of brains. I mean, they are
So
popping first two elements from the top of the stack, and then, or maybe that's language.
which one you're saying? Popping?
I'm saying, the implementation which I mean, one normal is like two stacks we can use, right? You have the empty
Yeah.
one stack, put in other, and do the same thing, getting
No,
the.
no, no, not required. Same. You can use two stack. Every time when you get an input, when you want to push, you push to your normal stack. And then when you are actually pushing to your minimum stack, you just look at the top of the minimum stack. If it is empty, you push. If it is not empty, you look for the top element. If it is the top element is minimum, you don't push anything. But the top element is not minimum, then you can push the current element there. Right?
And then okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that.
It's a simple push, always push. Pop, always pop. Right. And the top will always give you the peak value, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think in Q we do that empty
Yeah. When we
because
want to implement a queue using stack, then we have to do all those things.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this one, so that would be the most simplest way of doing it.
doing it. Yeah,
We still use two stacks, but only
and
push into the minimum when actually you are required to push. So the minimum stack might be a smaller one. It will always be smaller or maybe equal to the minimum main stack. Yeah. So you can have some space optimization there. Right. So
Yeah.
that's the, I think, the best way and okay way to use. Or else, if you want to use avoid stack, you can use a tuple pair, something like that. But you'll have to maintain the minimum value in that tuple or pair every time. So that is one way to doing it. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so that approach will be taking extra memory there,
Hmm.
since we are maintaining another stack for the
Yeah.
minimum element.
Yeah. So that is one more way what Gigs for Gigs does. They use actually single variable.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I tried that approach here,
Uh,
and there is a integer overflow.
really?
So yeah, so they have used values such that if we do the gigs for gigs approach, it will
Hmm.
give integer overflow.
Okay, because they are using 2 multiplied by the minimum element and then you
Yeah, yeah,
subtract the
yeah,
current element, right?
That
yeah.
equation.
So if the value of x itself is int max, then if we multiply with 2, then it will give integer overflow.
Correct. But in this case,
Yeah,
anyway, we are using a single value, right? A single integer. So
yeah,
in that case, you can use a
yeah,
long, maybe 64 bit.
yeah. But in C++, the return type is given integer.
That is true, but we don't have to
So
return that anyway. We have that is a processing variable always. So whenever you are returning, you'll have to
yeah,
convert and return it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That might be possible. I'm just thinking loud. I didn't do that either, but I was thinking, okay, this is one way, and maybe someone in the interview might ask. You never know.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, time is left.
Yeah, but it's always good to know that too, right? Sometimes I feel I don't know, but most of the implementation, no one talks about that. I don't know why.
Done.
The memory would be the
Since
same
it is
itself.
Sorry, Uday.
no, we are so we aren't
If you
taking the we are not taking into consideration the memory which the single stack is consuming.
no, even if it is, uh, so you are doing some equation, right? In that gigs for gigs.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that might overflow or something happens, but you guys are saying
yeah,
you can use long or something, right? But that would
yeah,
lead
yeah, yeah.
to the same memory usage instead of if you're maintaining two stacks of int or one stack of long, both would be similar only.
Okay.
No, actually, see, we don't use a stack right there, or do we? Okay, let me quickly open that. Okay, just give me a second.
So I have written the code. I can share.
Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have not typecasted the integer value. This is why I have not typecast the integer value. This is why I got a runtime error, which had the integer. But the uh, main, uh, I guess, this is the main intention for the gigs article, where we are using a minimum variable and also the stack,
Stack also
and
you have to
then
increase that
yeah,
variable. Okay,
and
okay, okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So
so
if
this
the stack
question
is
was
empty,
right.
we just push it.
Hmm.
But I think we are not taking into consideration this memory used by this stack while going for the space complexity part.
Yeah, but if you just compare, long, I think most of the long almost
Yeah.
are the same like a integer, right? 4 bit only, 4 byte.
Okay. Yeah,
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 but
yeah.
if you
That
have
makes
used
sense.
long, then that case
Yeah.
it might be double the memory. That is what he was saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
So okay. So what
Long
was
yeah.
this
is
implementation?
8
So the sim.
bytes. Hello. Long is 8 bytes, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it is 4 byte. I'm not sure based on the platform. integer and
Oh,
long.
okay.
So they use long. That is actually better. Because if it is 4 byte, then it is good. But you won't be able to put that because when we do this multiplication here, right, in line 13 is doing 2x minus min. So there might be an overflow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have given the value as int max. This value is int max 2147483646, and even this negative value is the int min value.
Mm.
So they have smartly given the test cases so that if we use integer here, the solution will fail.
Right. But okay, you tried with long. So
So
is this working?
no,
Mhm.
no. I think there is an issue when I am returning it. So I think it will work if I just typecast the return value, or even if I use the long here. But I will try it later.
Okay.
So, so this one was the approach where I was using a pair of int in the stack itself,
Mhm.
and this first value will be the current value, and this will be the minimum value up to which I am at now.
Right.
So, yeah. So, so
But this
this
will
one is
again
simple.
be, yeah, the simple one, but it will be a tuple, right? Pair in the sense, yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
So either you use
But
that or two stacks. Mm.
yeah, so but since they have mentioned their design as stack,
Mm.
so I think we can skip the idea of using the inbuilt stack, and we can use linked list here to to make our own stack here. Now, I have designed this linked list where the val is the current value and minimum is the current minimum till which I am at in the current stack,
Mhm.
and then I have made a head pointer. So for the constructor, I have assigned it to null, and when I get the first value in the stack,
Mhm.
I just assign the head value to the node,
Mhm.
and if I don't, if the stack is already filled, then
Mhm.
then I assign the next pointer to the head and make the head as the current pointer.
Mhm.
So these operations will be very
Straightforward, right?
small
Uh-huh.
implementation. Yeah.
Mhm.
So for pop, I just have to move to the next pointer. For top, I just have to return the value, and for min, I just have to return the minimum value.
Yeah, that is good. Even you implemented
Yeah.
everything from scratch, it is still very small implementation, right? Yeah, neatly done.
Yeah. Since they have mentioned designer stack, we can go with the uh, basic approach of using two stacks or tuples of stack,
Uh-huh.
but designing it from scratch will be more
Yeah,
better, I
makes
guess.
sense, right? Yeah, but actually they didn't mention it that you don't have to use any library STL stack. So
Yeah.
that we can
Yeah.
explore. But anyway, in an interview, if someone says don't use it, then this is one way, right? Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were more focused on retrieving the minimum element in constant time in this problem.
Yeah.
That get min part, I think they were more focused on that.
Yeah. This has to be done in constant time.
Yeah, that's what I think they were focused on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So you implement all the three ones, right? Hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
So do we have anyone wants to share any implementation?
so mine is normal only, little bit.
Okay.
What you say? Yeah, this is like I'm just instance. I mean, in the constructor I'm doing this part,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the what you say. If something is there in the stack, right? I'll append the minimum of the minus to the current element.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is nothing, I mean, the stack is already empty, then just to append the clean element to the stack. I mean, 2 times we are implementing the same, appending the same element. I think the voice is equal.
Oh, okay. So on the same stack you are doing the min and normal.
Max 2 times, yeah. And while popping, you pop 2 times again.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
it
this is
runs.
also a smart implementation. This is also a
Yeah.
smart implementation.
Right. Huh. So there are so many variations of implementing this.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
I first one we did using monostack because that concept can be applied in so many places. So I just stuck with the monostack and did it
Sure.
that way.
You want to share?
Yeah.
Share it.
Yep.
Monotonic stack you are saying, right?
Yeah. Monostack. So we have two stack, right? Same as our when we discussed the first solution, primary stack and monostack. Now monostack is actually keeping track of our elements on a, let's say, I would say, so first so on this from -203, it'll push -2, then on top of -2, it'll push -3. So I think it's keeping track of in decreasing order. So whenever we call get min, it returns the peak, which will always have our minimum element of the stack. And this right here, this is the concept of monotone stack, where if the stack is empty, or if whatever our peak is, if a peak, if x is less than or equal to peak, then only post a monostack. One logic, and the other thing we have to be careful of is whenever we're popping it, make sure that whatever is in the peak of our monostack, if it's not equal to the item, if it is, then we also have to pop that item. Yeah, but this concept can be applied in so many places. It's line 14 to 17.
Voice is equal.
Yeah, okay. So what was that? 14? Okay, just empty. And
Yeah,
then
so we're hitting our
Can we
decreasing
mute
order of the stack.
everybody once and then better?
I'm sorry.
Can you mute everybody, mute all, and then on?
Okay. Oh, is it I'm the host now? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So just mute all. Okay, just give a minute. Okay, you will have to unmute yourself, Sapal, now.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Mhm.
So here line 14 to 16, what I'm doing is this is the key part right here. I'm making sure my monostack is in the decreasing order. So if you look at this, -203, it's going to push -2, and it's going to ask if is 0 less than -2. It's not, then we're not going to push it, and then it's -3 less than -2. Yes, it is. Then we're going to push it. So that way it's a -2, -3, whatever that we see, we're just maintaining that order. So our top element on our monostack is always going to be the minimum element of our stack right here. If it was, I mean, if the question would have get max, then we would have just flipped it. We would have maintained the increasing order and that kind of thing. So right here, the logic of 14 to 17 is the key here on this monostack.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Mhm.
So that is what always will be standard for many of the implementation. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many problems on this monostack on LeetCode. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Mhm. Stop this here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
I will share one implementation if they, I mean, if
Okay, go ahead.
already a lot of has been done, so I will not confuse.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So in the minimum stack, basically I am initializing two vectors, vector of integer. One will keep track of the stack itself, like the elements, whatever we are inserting, popping, pushing, whatever. And
Are you sharing?
oh, sorry. Oh, I am actually sharing, but I forgot to share my. Oh, is it sharing now? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So, okay, I will start again. So basically I'm maintaining two vectors. Those are my stacks only. I mean, I took it vector. So the set, both the one first stack basically take care of all the elements. Another is taking care of min stack, because our idea is to get the min stack and get min, and that is going to be the challenging in this process. So min stack basically I am also storing. So now let's see push function. In push function, of course, I am keeping the all track of the elements. So I am going to push that element to the array, which is nothing but the stack, stk, which is nothing but the I should say array vector. So now once the minimum, now I have to make sure I am pushing that element to the min stack also. So min stack only I will push if at all the element is smaller. The comparison need to be done because it is a minimum stack, right? If the element is already bigger than the peak of the min stack, there is no point in putting the element. So this check is that. This check is that. And of course, there is another check because min stack could be empty, the first condition. So basically this is what the push is. So we will definitely update the stack, but we may or might not update the min stack. Okay, so this is the push function. Now let's come to the another function. We will come to the pop later. So the top function is again easy because we will just need to see the size of the our stack, and then we will make a decision. Okay, done. So let's go to the get minimum. In get minimum also the same thing. The top or the back, because I took a vector here, the last most element of min stack is your minimum, which was peak in the shuffles case. So these are all taken care. Now let's come to the pop function. So in pop function also we definitely need to pop out the element from the stack, but we need to make a decision whether we need to pop out the element from min stack or not, because while putting we did the same, right? Now we make a decision here, and we again make the same decision saying, okay, min stack back is equals to stack back, then only there is a point in pulling this element out, otherwise it is not significant. So we will basically pull that out element. So this is the implementation using vectors.
The two stacks is using one normal, the other for getting the minimum. So back, okay. Back means top of
So
both your
pop
array,
back.
right?
Yeah, so pop back in vector is constant time. So this
Yeah.
is why vector is used. Otherwise, we could have used stack here, but I guess the time is similar for both of the conditions. Like the pop of stack and pop back of vector is constant time.
Correct. Yeah. And back just returns the last element like a peak. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't remove, but it just returns back. That's good one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, okay. So Uday, yeah. So do you want to actually walk through this implementation?
Yeah.
Actually,
That's
it's the
interesting.
same. Instead of top down, that guy implemented bottom up.
Okay. Yeah, that is right. But there are so many parameters here.
No, those are the two cases itself. either you pick or not pick kind of thing.
Okay. But we are using two maps, right? One is the unordered map for part to prev. Then also we come here for the current one, the part to current.
He's exchanging that. I mean, for the previous index, for the current index is path to cur, and for the previous index is path to prev. And he's exchanging at the end of the loop.
Okay, here is exchanging, right?
Yeah.
Moving it. Okay. But okay, so what he is doing, so okay, initially he is initializing with -10, which is the invalid or most minimum value, something like that, right? With
Yeah, the
0.
-1 index maybe like that.
Okay, and then he goes to this because now your array 1 is not sorted, only you're sorting array 2 here. Okay, so you
Yeah.
start with the first element of an array 1. Okay, and then when you go through this, so now you actually look for whatever is the content from the pad to prev. Initially it's going to be -10 here, right? So you're going to compare the first element or the path's first element, that is -10, with the A1. So A1 will always be greater because it's going to be positive value, and then you're going to find that in the second one, part to current. Here you are not going to find anything, so therefore you're going to push that value. Okay. Mhm. And then you go and find the upper bound for that particular value, right? Mhm. Okay, it's the same thing, only in the form of a DP, a bottom up approach, sort of, right? Mhm. Okay,
What is that
It's
star I
cool,
do?
it's a pointer, right? So it just actually
Okay, okay.
returning the
Got it.
difference. Yeah.
Santosh, can you scroll down? There are two equal to. I'm not able to get that. So why is he doing that path to prev equal to path to per, and he's doing it two times? I mean, I didn't understand that.
Actually, this should be fine, right? So if you assign them, what will happen now? Part to prev and part to current will be one and the same. So actually, part to prev will be part to current. So he is actually explicitly moving. I think without that also should work. So if we
Okay.
commit this, okay, that part should work, right?
And also maybe we can try removing that some parts of the code which you are saying irrelevant, right?
Oh, which one? Okay, let me see.
Maybe.
Okay, let me run and see the first one. Oh, sorry. It is. So I'll just remove this. Let me compile it for both, everything. The time complexity is slightly bad. Okay. Okay, it works without that also. That is fine. Yeah. So they both are one and the same. So here making it. So what was you saying? The redundant.
Yeah, I mean, we are just declaring the path to cur, right? So
Mhm.
that if condition, the first 15th line, would it make sense? The min,
So you're trying to find, and then when you find it, you come inside, and then you are taking the minimum of both of these values. Part dot
yeah,
second. So you see, if you find, then you surely have to take minimum, right? And if you don't find, then whatever is there, you have to push.
no, no,
So
no.
that
I
should be
mean,
there, right?
this is 1 minute. Mm, But we are having only two. Okay. Yeah. So
Because if you come here and if you don't find, you won't be able to use minimum. Uh, the reason why he's doing, I'm not really getting it, but in case if you want to avoid or make both of them same, either you use minimum, but if you use minimum in the second case, it won't work because you don't have anything here, correct? And in the first case, you still have to take the minimum of both of them. I think that should be okay. Yeah, here also is doing the same. So it looks very simple implementation, right?
Yeah, but if we see the time complexity for
It's too much.
zero, it
Okay, in the sense the time complexity for this one, you're saying how is it going
yeah, I
to be?
mean, yeah,
Okay, so still you are iterating through the whole array one, and then you come here. Okay, so you are doing an upper bound for each and every one. Okay, but when you are actually going in this for loop, so that is where actually you will be having many combinations in that part to cur or part to prey always, right?
so we will. I mean, for the zeroth index, we will have two paths, right? I mean, for the first index, we will have two paths, and for the second, I mean, it's coming out to be 2, 2, 4, 8, something like that.
I'll have to put a breakpoint and look for it. Yeah, I'm frankly not really getting it because I looking this for the first time here. But what to follow? Because if you look at it, it looks very clean solution to understand and follow, right? Therefore, it's template.
No, no. In the before we start the for loop, the path to previous is having only one element. So for one element, for the zeroth index, we are producing two elements.
Yeah. So it
One,
will increase for the next one.
yeah. For the second one, it would it is into two.
Yep. So it will keep on increasing exponentially, right? At least exponent 2 raised to power every time.
Yeah, yeah. 2 raised to power.
Yeah. So it is the combination sort of the problem that we do for, okay, yeah, the set combination. Okay. But it's very different and to, it's very easy to follow also, right?
Maybe you can take one test case and we can see uh, how many we are actually getting at the path to
Okay.
debug. Okay.
Okay. Let me actually make this smaller. So then if I put a debugger here, and then we are focusing on path prep every time, right? Okay. So now the path prep is here. Okay, let me go down. Where is pathkar? Yeah, this is the one. It's not coming yet. Okay. So nothing here. So now this is one. Let me come back here. So now in this case, path privilege is 2150. Okay, so 21 is for this one and 50. And then if I go back to path again. No, actually it's not. It keeps on changing. Okay. It is
Yeah.
only the previous one. Exactly way Abhishek was doing. You see this? Now it is coming to 3 and 1. Right? So now you are at 3. Correct. So he is actually comparing with any of these values. So it is only one comparison here, right? So this is the 5 and 2, which is actually not the correct one. 5 and 2. So therefore at 3 he is having only one value. So that is what he is using. It's not going exponential the 2 to the power, not that way. So only thing is because you are having too many these unordered maps over here, as well as one of the log value here, right? The upper bound. So it seems to be more on the time complexity than the very normal one, but it's not size wise. It should be much better.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have any element greater than 5, so we that loop, that part of branch.
Yeah. So initially, what we anticipated, like it going this path pre or the path curve, both are one and the same. It will keep on increasing twice always, right? It's not that way. So it keeps on shrinking, or it is optimized actually. Now for 6, when we
Maybe.
are in the 6, it is actually that way. But if I come here, oh,
No, no, no. I mean, if we have much more values, like if we keep it like 1 to 10,
mhm.
uh, then every value is possible, right? Every value of array 2 is possible in array 1. Then I don't. Uh, 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 then I think it. I mean, the 2 4 will continue till some extent.
Okay, but any time, any point of time, only the difference is like the DP one, right? So whenever you have a value, whenever it is changing, you actually go to the previous one and see if it is changed. Then only you change it, right? So only the transition values are actually maintained, I think. I don't know. I may be wrong, but yeah, looks like that. Though, but you are saying if you have
Yeah.
a bigger test case, then it might be more.
No, no, no. Okay, so yeah, even I am under the impression that only transition values are kept.
Hmm.
But um, yeah. So what do you think the time complexity of this one?
Yeah. So if you look at this, the solution, if you look at only the solution, looking at the implementation, so it looks very normal. It doesn't even look n square. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at you are iterating through that array, okay. So forget about the unordered map, whatever the way it is doing. Anyway, if it's going inside, and now we are sure that it's not going to be exponential here, right? Then this for loop. Okay. So only what matters is the upper bound here. So is it not like n log n? Right? So n log n one also
So
because actually we are having here the sorting. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Abhishek.
yeah, so the first for loop will go for the n term. Then again, the second for loop, it will also go till n, I guess.
So it is sort of like a
And then again,
BFS level order travels, right? For
yeah,
every time when
and
we
then
find.
again in the
Mhm.
nested for loop we have a binary search. So I think it will be n into log of n. So this is why I was saying n squared log n.
Mm. Okay, but when you see this, the first part is n fine, but if you come here, uh,
Yeah.
earlier Uday was also thinking, like I was also thinking it might be two exponential value, whatever it is. But if we really look into it, it's not. It might be maximum n in this case, right? If you have all of the,
Yeah, this is why. wor- Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so therefore it will be n
For
square
worst
log
case,
n. That
it
is what
can.
you're saying. Mhm.
Yeah. So worst case, the part two pref can go up to n. Means the size can go up to n. So
Mm.
in that case, we can take.
Yeah, makes sense.
The path to prove can be n plus m as well, right? I mean, we are taking both the pick as well as not pick.
Oh, see,
So
if
it,
you
uh,
this is what you're saying, right? This one and this one.
yeah,
But they are one and the same. You are only updating one element here at any point of time.
it's, yeah.
Only the values are
I
changing. Yeah.
yet I have to look at it. I still didn't get it. But yeah,
Yeah, but I think it will be easy to follow. than other solutions also. Yeah, the Abhishek one was also good. Abhishek and Shashank, they coming up with an abstract, it's at least a standard pattern. Yeah, but this is also not bad. Okay. Yeah, this is a very hard problem, so but I have to give a revisit. No problem. Yeah. Thank you, Uday.
We can do it later.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay, then we can wrap up.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.